This video will show you how to remove the stock suspension on all 2008 through 2023 Challengers.
First step, we're gonna get our wheels out of the way. Our factory lug nuts here are 22 millimeters, so I got my impact gun. I'm using air tools for this, but if you don't have air tools, of course, a lug wrench works just as well. This is just gonna make life a little easier. All right, next up, we're gonna disconnect some of the ABS lines here so we don't put too much stress on them as we remove some suspension components. Now these are just rubber. Just gonna pull straight off on that guy. There's two more clips on your brake lines as well. Just gonna disconnect those to give it a little bit more slack. Next up, we're gonna disconnect our sway bar end link from the strut body. Now this is a 21 millimeter nut. Now using air tools, it can be a little easier, but if you're using an impact gun, it might start spinning the bearing, in which case you wanna be able to hold onto the backside with something to keep it from spinning. Got it. All right, so now you can pull the sway bar end link out of the strut body, and I like to just put that nut back on just to keep it safe, you know, so we don't lose it. What I just did was I put a pry bar right on the other side of the spacer to put a little tension on it as I took it off to keep it from spinning. All right, next up, we're gonna tackle the nut holding on our upper control arm to the knuckle itself. Now, this is an 18 millimeter nut, and what we're gonna do is use a swivel socket on my impact gun, or you can use a ratcheting wrench, that'll work as well. We're gonna work this guy off. It might also be a good idea to put a pry bar on the spring and pry down on it so it doesn't shoot off. All right, we're gonna keep this on a couple of threads just to make sure we can disconnect these two without it shooting off. So just put the nut on a couple of threads. All right, so now I'm gonna pry up to disconnect the ball joint here. So now we can pry back down, take that nut off, and work this off easily. Right, just guide the knuckle back down. And I'm just gonna thread the nut back on so we don't lose it. All right, use that same 18 millimeter socket, and we're gonna remove the bolt holding on the factory strut to the bottom control arm here, the lower control arm. Now, the nut is already on the strut body, so we don't need a wrench on the other side, but I am gonna keep my hand here to keep it from popping off too quickly. All right, next up, we're under the hood because we have to remove the 3 nuts holding on the top of the strut tower. I'm gonna twist off this cap here, and I'm gonna set that right onto our cowl there. Now that will expose the back 2 there. These are 13 millimeters, so grab your impact gun and your socket and get those 3 off. Now, as you remove the 3rd one, the strut's gonna fall straight through, so you wanna have a hand on it to get it off. All right, now that you have a hand on it, you can push down on the suspension assembly there to pull the strut away from the lower control arm and then off of the vehicle. All right, first step for the uninstall of our factory sway bar here is to take off the heat shields on both sides. They're held on by 2 8 millimeter bolts, one in the corner here and one in the top corner. So I'm gonna start up here and get that off. And down here. Taking the heat shield off exposes the bracket here for the bushing. We're gonna take this heat shield off on the other side and then tackle those bolts. All right, now I'm switching over to an 8 millimeter swivel socket to tackle this guy because it's awkwardly placed above the sway bar. Now the other side. All right, now these 2 are 15 millimeter bolts. I'm gonna use a swivel socket on my 15 deep socket to get the top guy off. And then the bottom. Now you wanna take this off carefully. And when the sway bar starts to swing down, once we have the other side unbolted, this back plate may fall, so just keep that in mind. All right, same thing on the other side. Once you have those bolts off, You just want to help guide it down slowly. And again, these back plates might come off, so you just want to pull them off yourself. All right, so now the sway bar is hanging on those end links. So grab a 21mm wrench. I'm using a ratcheting wrench because it makes life a little easier. We're gonna use a 10mm socket to hold on that stud so the ball doesn't spin. So we're basically gonna crack these guys loose and work that nut off. I'm just gonna put it on one thread just until we get the other side done too. All right, now you wanna support the sway bar by your hands. Pull that nut off there. Carefully get that end link off. Now I'm gonna put this nut back on so we don't lose it. And now we can disconnect it from the other side as well. All right, pull the sway bar off the vehicle and put the nut on. And there you go.
So now we get to the fun part. The sway bar in the rear, it's just on top of the subframe. So that pretty much means we're gonna have to disassemble all of the stuff in the rear. Now we're gonna try to make this a little bit easy on ourselves just by unbolting this subframe and lifting the car away from it a couple inches. Hopefully at that point we can get the sway bar out. If not, we're gonna have to disconnect some fuel lines, get a little bit dirty with the gasoline. Same thing goes for the drive shaft. We're gonna try to skip that stuff for now and just get a little bit of room in there so we can pull out the sway bar. If not, we're gonna show you how to do that. But first things first, regardless, this exhaust is gonna have to go. Now it does have a couple hangers in the back here. Don't worry about the rubber isolators. Take a 13mm socket, loosen the hangers off of the Challenger, and then we're just gonna work our way back to the mufflers. We're gonna get those off as well. So 13mm socket on an extension. We're just gonna get up to this bolt here. And we're just gonna come back about a foot and do the same thing for this hanger bolt as well. Now the next hanger right after the mufflers here, this one is welded on, so a little bit of pry bar work later to get that out. It should be free. Now, I have that fancy exhaust hanger removal tool that really helps you out with those. This clamp has a 15mm nut. I'll loosen that up. I'll slide that over, and then we can pull off the tailpipe. Now our muffler is gonna have to come out as well. Our drive shaft is gonna hit on the actual body of the muffler. If you have an aftermarket exhaust, you might be able to get away with it. Same thing goes for the other side. Next, we're gonna have to unbolt this brake line bracket right here, held on with a 10mm bolt, which is all the way up here behind this fender liner. They give you a cutout here, but it doesn't really give you access to the bolt, which is a little bit strange. However, it is pretty coarse threaded, and that means you can come up here with the tiny 10mm on the ratchet, and in a couple cranks that should come loose. We're gonna do this for both sides. Now that should is hooked up in there. Now once you release that hook, pull this down, you can see it at the top. You should get a little bit more flex out of that brake line. That's exactly what we need. And here we are over on the other side. It's actually even a little bit tighter over here, but small 10 should do the trick. It's all exactly where I landed, so we can unhook that bracket and pull it away from the Challenger. Now we can do the top of our sway bar end link, 16mm socket for the nut side, 15mm socket for the bolt head. And we're just gonna work that bolt out of there. We're gonna do the same thing over here on the driver's side as well. Now we're gonna remove our upper shock mount. 2 16mm bolts hold this on. U-joint helps, small extension will help you get to these. We're also gonna need to disconnect these 2 wheel speed sensors here. And to do that, just press on the red release tab and then the release button. There you go. And do the same thing for this one. It can put up a little bit of a fight, so the flathead is your friend. So now we're ready to try unbolting our subframe. It's held on with 4 18mm bolts, 1 in each corner. As you can see, ours is supported by this table here and a couple of wood blocks. So once we have it disconnected, we're gonna lift the Challenger up just enough to get that factory sway bar out, and then we can get our new Eibach in. Now, if you don't have a lift like this one, which let's face it, most of you guys probably don't, I'm sure you could get this done with a few jacks and wood blocks in the driveway. Now these can be a little bit tough to get out, but we're not going to remove them all the way just yet. Just to make sure this subframe doesn't slide around anywhere, we're gonna leave these threaded in just a little bit. Now we're gonna hit this front one. You are gonna need an extension to get up through this plastic piece here. So now we're just going to raise our Challenger away from the subframe. One thing to note is when you separate the body from the subframe, the springs are gonna wanna fall out, so don't be surprised. Have a good hand on your springs before you lift your Challenger. All right, so everything went pretty smooth. We got about a solid 5 to 6 inches out of travel. As far as the subframe goes, that should be enough for you. We're gonna try to get the air ratchet in there. I know I can get this one in the front, however, this one in the back, that's probably gonna need the ratcheting wrench. Then we can take that bushing bracket off, hit the other side, and hopefully start to fish this guy out. On the driver's side, you can get both of them with the air ratchet. Plenty of room in there. Enough to land a 747, honestly. So, now, bracket can go, and we start the removal.
Time to get started on the rear springs. Now, to uninstall our factory ones, it looks a lot more complicated than it actually will be. So you want to grab a 13mm socket and an extension. What we're actually going to do is lower down our one exhaust pipe. Now, the reason being is to lower down this rear cradle, what we're going to do is remove this bolt holding it to the back end. But we can't back that bolt out because the tailpipe's in the way. So what we're going to do to make our lives just a little bit easier here is grab this 13, we're going to go up, remove the brackets on our hangers that hold the isolators together to the frame. We're going to remove that bolt, it's a 13mm bolt holding it to the frame, lower down that hanger, then there's another one right on top of the exhaust tip. With those two out of the way, we'll be able to lower down our exhaust tailpipe just enough to clear that bolt, get that backed all the way out. With that in mind, we're also going to remove the bottom shock bolt. That's holding that to the cradle itself as well. We just need a little bit of clearance to get the factory one out. First step, 13 socket, extension, impact gun. Let's pop off those hanger brackets holding it to the frame. Got that one loose, we got one more under the tailpipe tip. All right, this one's a little bit trickier to get to right above our tip, but we just have enough clearance to get to it without needing a swivel. You can see that cap back coming down. Just let it hang off. We're gonna put our bolts aside. All right, guys, now you can see we have it lowered down. You can see us getting a lot more clearance, and now we have enough room to back that bolt out. And of course, if you needed to, you could pull down just a little bit on that back tailpipe to give yourself more clearance, but I think we're good right there as it is. All right, the next step here, I actually want to get our pole jack out. Now guys, if you remember, we're using a lift here at our shop, but if you're on the ground, hydraulic jack does the trick just as well. You want to have a pole jack here. We're going to jack this all the way up just to put a slight bit of tension, take a little bit of tension off of that cradle. So we're just barely holding that up. So a little bit of tension. Do the same thing with a hydraulic jack if you're working on the ground. We don't want that cradle to shoot down with all that tension from that spring, so you want to support that weight. If you're up in the air with a pole jack, that's a good way to go. If you're on the ground, a hydraulic jack will do the trick. Makes it easier to lower it down. All right, guys, with that weight supported, you want to grab an 18mm socket and 15mm wrench and pop off the bottom shock bolt holding it to the cradle. The 18 is going to go on the nut, 15 is going to go on the bolt head side on the opposite end. Now, if you need to, grab a ball peen hammer, just tap that out to get the bolt to come through the other end. Next up is that bolt on the back end of that cradle. Grab an 18mm wrench to hold the nut side and a 15mm socket to get the bolt head. Make sure at this point you have that weight supported. All right, guys, once that bolt's out of the way, we can start lowering down our pole jack ever so slowly. Now, like I said, this is under a lot of tension. You don't want to get it down too quickly just to unload all that pressure. Go very slowly with your pole jack, and if you're using a hydraulic jack, just slowly rotate that handle to get that to lower down. Once you get that nice and loose, you'll see all that pressure comes off. You get a lot of play in that spring. Get your jack out of the way if need be, or lower it all the way down. Make sure you're pulling that isolator out with it.
Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Challenger, keep it here at AmericanMuscle.com.